No, but that's what
Tyrannosaurus Rex
that's what I'm
is.
stating. Is fossilization is rare. That's why we only find a few like T-Rexes. We've never. Okay, I don't know if this is correct, but we've never found a complete T-Rex skeleton. We've only been able to put it together from partial fossil records throughout the entire world. So if we can only find like one or two full skeletons from around the world, how are we going to find fossils of a kangaroo that was only in certain parts of the world for a certain amount of time? Because a kangaroo might not have looked quite like a kangaroo until it got to Australia and just evolved into that. Because Ken Ham, he doesn't state that evolution isn't correct. He's just stating that they got it from the wrong beginning. Because according to Bill Nye, we all mutated from Ken Ham, he likes to say molecule to man.
Yeah.
Right? So we were all an ooze. That ooze somehow evolved to fishes and to land creatures, and then the fishes all evolved from blah, and then all the land creatures evolved from the original fish, and we all became what we became. Ken Ham was saying there was already a preset number of animals, because that's what God made, and from the preset, so a dog is a dog, and from all those dogs comes all the different dog breeds.
Yeah.
From a wolf came all the wolves. From bears came all the bears. So he's not saying that evolution isn't correct. He's just stating that according to evolution scientists, is they're getting the wrong starting point. So go back to the Ark. On the Ark, if you only have 1,000 different kinds of animals,
Well, it was 7,000.
okay, 14,000 different animals.
Yeah.
Right? If you look at the, if you look in a situation, I read some stuff on this. And it was rather interesting.
I don't think that, there's evidence, scientific evidence of, there's no, you would figure that we would find something of this boat. So we would find
that's easy.
a piece of this boat. We would find, and people would try to replicate this boat.
No, but okay, that's easy.
But they never have.
The boat is made out of wood. Wood decays.
But if it's 4,000 years old, it doesn't decay in 4,000 years. We have older
wood
trees.
Does.
We have older stuff, and we would have found something.
If you leave a twig outside, is it going to last 4,000 years? No.
Of course not, because it's a twig. It's this big. But, you're talking a boat that's 500 meters long.
500.
You're talking about so much.
Feet.
You're talking so much wood.
No, okay.
That you would find something.
Here's the point. If you're the family, right, you would live out of the boat. Once you started to...
We would have found something. Bottom line.
No.
Bottom line, we would have found something.
No.
You would have found something somewhere of evidence.
Not of the boat. Because,
When did we start doing, scientific digs and stuff like that? Archaeology has been around since, for a long time, right?
Yeah.
And if it's only 4,000 years old... 2,000 years ago, we would have found something, some pieces of it, something. There would have been pieces in museums. There would have been pieces, something.
Okay,
you're sitting here telling me
you would never
fantasy. You're sitting here telling me a fictitious piece of a fictitious boat, okay, that there's no evidence of. Whereas the one model says, and there's evidence of everything that's stated. The only evidence there is a book that says. That's been translated how many times from how many different languages?
No, but every time they do a translation of the book, it's always from the original copies.
But how do we know the language is great? How do you go and read French and go, hey, this translation is right?
No, but you have experts talk. I mean, we're not talking about me.
But I know that.
The Bible. We're talking about experts who have studied language for decades.
But how do we know they're right? How do we know that if the language is dead? Then how do we know that people?
The Hebrew language died off as a language until they created the Jewish state just after World War II, and then. These scholars had been keeping the language alive. and they brought it to
me, it just seems
Israel.
like I could just take this book right here, and I could just put a couple chicken scratches in it. I could just write a couple lines and make it pretend it's a language, bury it under something, hide it somewhere. Somebody finds it and goes, "This is the new way of man," and that's kind of how it feels to me. Like, whereas this is what you guys are going off of. This is a book. This is the Bible. This is just no, okay. It's not this book. Trust me. There's nothing good in here. And it's like it's just a book that's telling you this. Whereas to me, there's no. It's just all theory.
Okay. Hold on one second.
Evidence.
You're talking about there's no evidence of the Noah's Ark. Noah's Ark would have been dismantled and used for housing.
Oh, but you still
Hold on, stop. It would have been dismantled for housing, and
there's only 8 people. How many houses do you need?
Anyways, each family would want their own dwelling.
So 4 houses,
right?
4 houses?
Yes, and then the rest of it would have rotted away, just like wood does.
There would have been something. There would have been
something.
There would have been something.
They would have used it for what they needed to use it for. They would have dismantled it, and the rest of the boat would have... what is the word? Disintegrated? No.
Decayed?
Decayed
not the word, yeah.
Over time. The boat wouldn't have survived 4,000 years.
I don't know. It's as the Mythbuster would say, plausible.
Hold on.
Not confirmed, plausible.
Is anything that mankind...
have we not found things? Have we not found pieces of paper that are thousands upon thousands of years old?
Yes. And you know what they have been... You know how they were found? Buried or locked inside a sealed jar that was buried. The only way to keep things...
There would have been evidence of this...
Okay, the pyramids. The pyramids. They exist. They're considered to be thousands of years old, but they're made out of rock. And they're also in a desert location. The desert location keeps those pyramids the way they are because it's hot, dry air.
But why do you believe this? Why do you believe this? Why do you open the book to whatever Genesis... What is it? Genesis 3, right?
Actually, I don't know.
Sorry, Genesis 9.
Okay,
right. Have you read the whole Bible
no,
front to back?
No, I have not read the whole Bible.
So so people who believe in this,
yes,
which probably 90% haven't read the Bible, right?
Probably most of the world hasn't even read the whole Bible.
Okay, now what makes this in your mind believable? I can sit here and say that I believe what I believe because there's scientific evidence by people who are a hell of a lot smarter than me, have done the research, have done the work, have put in the time, and there's been many people who have seen this and done the work and done it, and so I believe them because I believe in science. Science hasn't... I have no reason not to believe in science.
Okay, now, so think about science 50 years ago, 100 years ago. How different it is then from it is now.
Yeah.
Okay, science does change.
Yes, it does.
Okay, there's no arguing that, and that's the way science should be. It should go, hey, we want to discover something, and then go,
but what makes you believe it? What makes you believe this? When you look at this book, what made you convert? Because I know you haven't been Christian your whole life. What made you go, I believe this book now. I believe this magical man in the wherever.
Okay, in his defense, before I converted, I was actually really anti religion. I was really, really hardcore against it. I argued Christians all the time. You know, those people who walk up to you at bus stops and go, "Hey, have you heard the word of Christ?" "Oh, yeah, sure, let's talk." You know, I was gung-ho all about that. I went down kicking and screaming. I'll put it that way. I still kick and scream about religion as a whole. But I have faith now, and I know faith is a horrible thing to be using as a word because people are just like, "Oh, you just have to say it's faith." It's like, well, yeah, unfortunately, yes. But it's just like scientists when...
But you still haven't answered the question.
What made me convert?
Yeah, what makes you believe this now? What makes you believe now? Like, What?
It was shown to me beyond a reason of a doubt that God exists.
So somebody showed you God. God walked up to your door and went, "Hey, this is God."
Yes.
You've met God.
No. God doesn't talk
So
to me.
you don't know if God is real.
I do know that God is real. I know it.
So you talk to God.
No.
See, that's what I mean. Like,
Do you talk to molecules?
do I talk to molecules? No, but I can see them.
No,
They're
you
right
can't.
here. They're right here.
These aren't molecules,
These,
though.
these are what consists of...
Consists of, but have you ever seen a molecule?
No, I've never seen one.
Okay, now, right now we're getting into that classic, if you can't talk to God, how do you believe God? You know, you're getting into the stereotypical arguments that people have when they're talking about religion. Mm-hmm. That's what we're doing right now.
But how...
I was shown, okay, my proof isn't going to be the same as anybody else's proof.
Right.
Right? It's one of those things people say, oh, seeing is believing. You know, some people, they see it and they don't believe it. Right? You can show somebody a video on YouTube and go, hey, look, you know, people can do this. And it's like, no, it's a YouTube video. Right? And then you have, like, a great show like the Mythbusters.
You're skeptical about it.
I'm skeptical, yes. I think a lot of people who confess about God are really retarded.
But do you, like... So, you admit that you haven't read the whole Bible.
No, I have
right?
not.
So you don't know the whole story of the Bible, right? If you've never, like, so you don't know what the Bible, you don't know what's all in it, right?
Oh, God, even if I had read the Bible beginning to end... I still don't know what's in there. There's a lot of information in there.
How can you believe in something that you still don't? No, that's going to come across wrong.
Go ahead.
That's just going to come across wrong because there's an easy rebuttal to it. Because I don't know science very well. I just have other people telling me about it.
But okay. Here's the argument against you. How do you know science exists? Because all you can do is learn from what other people tell you. How do you know that your iPhone...
Well, that's exactly why I wasn't gonna...
Okay,
exactly
I get it.
point.
Okay, I get it. See,
It's exactly the same
this
point.
is a classic back and forth argument of what people do is they go, well, blah, 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 you, and then you go, well, blah, blah, blah to you too, and then you get into that circle argument where nothing ever happens.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
We're not going to sit here and prove if there's God. God's not going to appear right here. It's just a stormtrooper, guys. It's not God. Just a stormtrooper. That's all it is.
Yeah, exactly. God, he's never shown himself to me as what we think of the classic God in the robe with the white beard, etc., etc. I've never had him show up to me. However, what you call answers to prayers, for lack of a better term in my, have happened.
Are you sure it's not just coincidence?
I believe in coincidence, even though I'm a Christian. Coincidence is a funny word that non-believers can say when believers say it was God, right?
So my coincidence is your God.
No, not necessarily. Depends on what it was.
So if you pray, I pray for food, and food shows up. That's coincidence to me. To you, that's, hey, God delivered me food. To me, I'm like, well, actually, the delivery man delivered me food, and the process is endless. You know what I mean? And I'm like...
And that's where it is. That's where that classic debate goes. Is, yeah, you can say it's coincidence, and I can say it's God's will. And then you're at that little point, and it's just like, okay, where do you go from there?
Yeah.
So, I would recommend watching the video. I would state, don't watch the question and answer period. Because do you remember the question and answer period?
Yeah, I remember the question and
answer
answer
they
period.
asked each other, they asked one person a question, and then...
the meat of it was when the opening statements, and then the half an hour after that, I believe.
That
and
was...
did the 5, and 5, whatever that was. That was the best part of it. Because it was just them giving their points, giving their presentation.
Now, okay, in the end, I agree with Bill Nye about we need to teach children. We need to teach them science.
Yeah,
we need to teach them engineering. We need to teach them mathematics. That, I think, is very important. However,
So should we not just leave the beginning out of it? Then shouldn't we just be like, you can form your own conclusion of beginning? We shouldn't be teaching either one of them because they're both.
that's a much better idea. Than
You know what I
had.
mean? If we don't teach evolution or creation, we can let people come to their own conclusion.
Whoa. Evolution should be taught from a species aspect, that not necessarily that all species come from the same goo, but that all, bears come from the same bear, all cats come from the same cat, all blah 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 comes from the same blah blah blah, but not, a dog and a cat come from the same animal, because that's what they're saying, is that this is how evolution happened. Is a dog and a cat started as one kind of animal. And it's like,
It's possible.
no.
Sure it is.
No.
Why not? It's possible. That
If you look at skeletons of a dog and skeletons of a cat, what kind of species would have had to exist, and what?
those mystery ones.
And we've never found a mystery one that is a dog and a cat. Okay, Bill Nye brings up a thing about skeletons, right? Skeletons of humans, and he says, "Oh, look at all these human skeletons, right? We have them, and they're all, if you lay them out, you can go, well, this one came from this one, this one came from this one, this one came from this one." It's like, well, you can infer that they came from that one. And you look at modern skulls, all modern skulls tend to be the same. Well, what if, if these skulls that these people have found were the rejects, for lack of a better term, of the human species, a baby born back then in medieval times, right? A baby born with deformities would never have grown up. They would never have let it grown to be
Probably wouldn't
an
have
adult.
survived.
One, it might not have survived, but two, the parents aren't going to take care of it. They can't.
Well, they don't have that.
They didn't have what we have now to take care of children with Down syndrome, with any kind of diseases. We have modern medicine that we can use to take care of these children so they grow up to be older. These ones, they could just be rejects. Or people, I don't know, that just had cancer and it expanded their head or something like that. All science is based off of interpretation, and interpretation can be done different ways by different people.
Well, that's the thing. Like people interpret the Bible in many different ways, right?
That is very true.
And
People
it's
do,
like-
and that's why there are different sects of Christianity and Catholicism. You have your Protestants and your Anglicans, and I don't know. There are other ones. There are. I just don't know what they are. I call myself a Christian. Okay. I don't have a doctrine.
Is there evidence of this great flood?
Again, I wouldn't even know what to look for a great flood.
But haven't scientists said there's no evidence of a worldly flood?
Scientists haven't even said that there hasn't been.
I would think that they would say that there has been.
But, okay,
Especially
hold
if it was
on.
4,000 years ago.
Again, this is where the dumb part of us come in. I don't know what you would look for in a worldwide flood. Because, okay, I always thought, reading
If
the
there's
Bible...
a worldwide flood, wouldn't there be like a point in the layer of the earth where it just all started again? There wouldn't be...
not...
It would go like this, and then go like... And then kind of be like, oh, here's the flood, and then...
And okay, I think that's what the whole point of part of the what they were doing was they started a base point of the flood. How come there are trees that are over 4,000 years old, right? Well, it can be argued that reading the rings isn't 100% accurate. So some of the ones that they hit at 6,800 years
But by
old...
100 times? Like by...
No, hold on.
by-
No, hold on. If you have
Twice.
a 6,800-year-old tree, and you can't technically have anything over 4,000 years old, but if the tree rings aren't read correctly, you can actually decrease
there a
it.
9,000-year-old tree?
So
by a factor of
maybe,
2.
No, okay, but here's the thing. I mentioned this before, was that the tree was in Iowa.
Japan. I thought it was Japan.
Oh, I don't know. Mixing up data. Yes, there might have been a tree that was 12,000 years old. Well, for argument's sake, yeah, okay, that predates the flood. That predates how long the Earth is supposed to be. If the Earth is 6,800 years old, say 7,000 for easy numbers, double it, that's 14. The tree is just less than half the age of the Earth, or just over, double the age of the Earth, or just under.
How long was the Earth underwater for?
They